Hey folks, Susan here. I hope that you don't get any ideas about my pajamas like, oh, she's the leopard or something like that in the book of Daniel. By For the love of God, okay? I want to talk about it is true that sometimes insomnia can cause you to wake up in the middle of the night, but mine was not an insomnia. I was actually in deep sleep, and then I had this message that kind of woke me up in the middle of the night. And it wasn't that I heard voices or I was dreaming it necessarily. It was like the message woke me up. The actual message. It was like a dream, but it was a message in a dream that woke me up. And I usually, when I have those kind of situations, which is very rare, that I have to wake up in the middle of the night and write it down, it's usually something very important. So I didn't, and I've been not myself today. I've not been myself today. I've been very just like not sharp. And it has to do with me not exercising, not having my son, Alexander, and just being cooped up, of course, not having balance. But it's not the desire of my heart to not have balance in my life, but it is affecting the way I'm writing today and even thinking, like just not sharp, dyslexic, and that kind of thing. But anyway, I woke up, but I didn't wake up to write it down. So I remembered what I remembered, and I prayed about it this morning. I was like, Father, if you want me to remember in detail, allow me to remember in detail what you wanted me to look up or to write. Whatever you need me to recall, please, and then whatever you don't need me to recall because it's not important. Because I was feeling guilty that I didn't wake up and write it down. But I woke up when I did, and I took my notes as best as I could recall, and it was nothing I haven't said before, but it was just a little bit more emphasizing. See, we know that the name of God is, he has many names, but one of the names without any vowels is Yahweh, which is YHWH. And there's another variation, which instead of the W, it's a V, because the letter Vav for the Semitic languages is either Wav. They don't pronounce it Wav, but it's WAW or VAV. So Vav is the pronunciation. Like in Spanish, W, for some countries we say W, but some countries say W, double V. So it makes sense that they actually pronounce it Vav. Make a long story short, I've already shared all that with you because it's important. We need to know that God is speaking to us. We need to know that these things are interconnected. We may not be surgeons. We may not be in the chemistry department or physics. We don't need to be when God's speaking to us in all languages, a language that we can clearly understand. He wants nobody to say, well, I didn't hear, I didn't know, And but when you pull up the elements table, you will see that iron is 26, the 26th element, and 26 is the number of Yahweh when you add up, because remember that each letter has a number value. and it adds up to 26. And I came up with this before I even looked it up. But I mean, people look this stuff up all the time. This is what people do. They look stuff up and they learn. They do their own investigation about, God. Is like, is this real? It's like, yes, it is real. And so I like to sometimes do my own calculations and my own looking up before, and then I come across somebody else who has come across the same thing, and many other people. But usually I'll find somebody that I really like the way they present their stuff, and it's like I don't have really a lot of time to be listening to everybody. But when I do, and I come across somebody that I find helpful, then I just share that with you. Because I'm not the best, professor. It is not that I don't want to be polished. It's not that I don't want to be polished, but you have to understand, I'm 46 years old, 47 years old. I've gone through all of this with DHR. I'm still dealing with these people. I'm living in a house that's not my own, and my things have been in storage unit for a long time. So this has been demoralizing. And I put on my makeup, I put on my clothes. If I go see Alexander, I always look presentable because I don't want my son to see me suffering. I don't want these people to give him the pleasure to see me suffering. It's very important to me. So that's the way I was raised in my culture. That, you don't look sad, you just, put it on. I mean, of course, when I'm sad, I will come out and say it. I will write it on my wall. I will pray about it. I will say it. But so I'm not like, keeping it to myself, because there are one of two ways of looking at it. Some people will say, well, look, she's moping around in her pajamas. She's unkept. She's not polishing herself. She's not working on herself. But because back when I was in my 20s, I had people not taking me seriously. When I was talking about my restaurant with the smoke outside, and I had already done all my homework, and this song came to me about green is what she sees all day and night, y'all. Green is for rebirth and rebuild. Green is for renew and restore our society. Green is for proactive love, Dove love. When I lived on Dove Lane, and I saw the 3 in front of me, and I've told you this, I'm not making this up. And I was really working on myself. I was going to the gym. I had lost all this weight like immediately, and my health caught, like, the healing caught momentum. I was like super healthy. And then I had people criticizing me, especially the older women. I had like no support from the older women. I mean, and I was just like, oh, and this pattern continued. It followed me when I went to Mobile. And then I had people coming from New York to set up church in Mobile, and it's like they got there. I got to Mobile in 2009. I was 36 years old, and I saw this vision of this tree with 2 main branches and then 12 sub branches, of the tree of life, and the meaning behind the acronym SAGE when I lived on Sage Avenue. So these visions are coming to me wherever I live, and it's not like I'm making this stuff up. God speaks to me, and then I look it up, or certain people have been given to me to help me, like direct me, look this up. How can anybody say that any message from Albert Einstein is of the devil? How can anybody say that any message from President Eisenhower is of the devil? How can anybody say that any message from Mahatma Gandhi or Dr. Martin Luther King or Maria Montessori is of the devil? If anybody thinks that that anything that I have ever posted or looked up is of the devil, then you need to do your own research and become educated before you start, accusing me of something I'm not. I'm a Christian, but I'm not expecting everybody in the world to be Christian. And I think that is very narrow-minded and selfish and unrealistic for any Christian person to think that, oh, because those people are Muslim or because they're Jews, that's not the truth. Because Jesus is the truth, is the way, is the light. Because that's what it says in your book. And it's like, I believe that. I believe that because of what I have read according to the book that I was given. And I've concluded everything that I've shared with you a long time ago. And whenever, my song goes, artists predict the future as they paint and sculpt. Artists restore as they draw and they sketch. And so I still believe that what we write today will be for them. And what we write for them also will be for them. So when I was in my 20s, it's like I'm 47 years old. I could never do this to a girl in her 20s, a woman in her 20s. Like be jealous of her youth, be jealous of the fact that she's becoming independent from her husband who was psychologically abusive or emotionally abusive. Do you think I would be jealous of her because she's bettering herself and has education and wants to pursue her education? No, what they wanted to do with me was whore me around, exploit me. They thought that the PPs that I was seeing on the top level, was like for the male part or something. Because there are people that will zoom into your notes and they steal intellectual capital. And then on top of that, not only are they studying you, but now they know your weaknesses and your strengths, and they can totally screw your life. And you don't even know how or why. You cannot prove it. And then before you know it, your personal life is out there for the everyone's, and everybody's, and for the mockery, and for the cheap entertainment. And who's charging for this? Have you ever thought about why I'm living in poverty and why I have lived in poverty? I was a homeless veteran in Mississippi. Had it been not for the fact that I had my own car and had a gym membership, okay, because I don't like to walk around dirty, okay? When I'm in the privacy of my house, if I haven't brushed my teeth, because I sometimes don't brush my teeth before I drink coffee. I don't like the way my coffee tastes or the orange juice if I brush my teeth. But if my hair's all frizzed up and my makeup from the day before, that's my prerogative. I mean, people need to understand there's a public image and there's something that you do out of respect, and something that not that you're being a hypocrite. So if I put makeup on and I brush my hair and I get dressed, I'm a hypocrite because I don't look good in a bikini? I think y'all are full of it if you think that I'm a hypocrite. I have never claimed to be a perfect mom. I have never once claimed that. You have read my writing from the moment I opened up my Facebook account. If you've read, I have never claimed to be something I'm not. So when I tell you that I had already done the basic research that I needed to get started on my path, and that I was being attacked from different angles in Mississippi, and that same tactic followed me in Mobile. I was being mocked. It's like, well, you speak English well. I had people telling me that they wanted to bring their wives over so they could stay at home. And why didn't I pursue a housekeeping job with the airplanes, the companies that are putting airplanes together? Because, and I'm thinking, what part of did you not understand that I've served in the military, that I was honorably discharged, that I have clinic management experience working directly for a physician? What part of that do you not understand? It's like they want the same Hispanic people. So it's like, and then you have to understand, Hispanic people are from all kinds of diversity. You cannot say that Hispanic is a race, because it's a very diverse group. The one thing that we have in common is our Spanish, but even our Spanish is totally different accents, and sometimes there's different words. Now, I'm very proud to be Latino, but I'm not overly proud, because God does not want people to be proud, overly proud. You can be glad to be whatever it is that you are. But if I wanted to be a more Americanized person, I would have just said Susan Catherine Jones, because my father didn't raise me, my biological father. So people need to understand and put things in perspective. Because when I speak Spanish with people, I don't have an American accent. I have a perfectly a Spanish accent. If I'm speaking to somebody from Puerto Rico or somebody from Mexico, my accent adapts, and it's not like I'm mocking them. It's just, that's my ability, and I like accents. I like, language, and so when people start saying, well, you have to be proud to be, proud to be this, proud to be that, but then when white people have white pride, you say they're racist. Just like television, we have Spanish TV, we have black TV, black magazines, but if you were to have a white magazine or a white pride TV, there's some people that are going to be right down pissed off. And I'm just a little bit of everything, And so people need to understand my perspective. I came here as a teenager, and people want me to understand the fact that they've had to come here and leave their kids back home so that they can make a living. But then when they bring their families here, they bring their children, their wives, they want their wives to stay at home and their kids to go to good schools. They want their kids to speak English well and get good education, but they don't understand that I came here as a teenager. So it's like I'm in that, these people with this mentality, and that really set me back. And our government allowed this to happen. Because had I been protected by our government, none of this would have happened. Had I been protected by the government as a veteran, as a good airman, who served her term and did well and wanted to pursue her culinary nutrition degree, let the lady leave, let her go to Rhode Island, get her culinary nutrition degree and Johnson & Wales University and do what she wants to do. We need to help her as a veteran. But no, it's like I was just dealing with this judicial system from Pascagoula. I was not from the South, but now I am, because I've been here most of my life. But do you see how, and then if I suffer, my children suffer. So what y'all are telling me is like, it's okay for Alexander to be in this system that's broken, because he's better off there going to and from these different homes and being all. Yesterday he had a cut right here from. It wasn't deep, but if I had wanted to, I could have taken a picture and blown it up. The only time I took a picture was when his haircut was shaved and he had all kinds of boo-boos on him, and then the legs. And the one time he got a deep cut right here. Do you understand, people? He's gotten more beat up in this ghetto system. And you can see pictures of when he was with me and videos of when he was with me, and you're still wanting to justify. I was told by Joanna Gomez from the Methodist Church that I needed to take all down from Facebook so that people wouldn't know what the heck was going on with this DHR. Or if I ever even spoke about my opinion about anything that was controversial, it's like, you need to take that down because, you're not going to be able to get a job like that. And I'm thinking, okay, this is coming from the church. Doesn't it teach in the Bible that you should fear God only? Doesn't it teach in the Bible that God is not a God of oppression? From the book of Genesis to Exodus, the whole thing was coming out of oppression into the land of our inheritance. Doesn't it say in the Bible that God is a God of freedom? Do you see the hypocrisy? This is from the same people that were like women that I was supposed to be, no support there. I get criticized if my partner is younger than I, or if I'm staying at home, or if I am, if I'm staying at home painting my furniture or decorating my house. I get criticized because what do people want me to do? They want me to go leave my son with whomever so I can work nights and weekends only, because that's the only thing that's available to me through a staffing agency for housekeeping. Is that the best that Mobile had to offer me? No, the whole thing was just an attack in my home when I was not putting on a pony show. I was not buying and selling anything out of my house. Nobody can say that I was selling anything other than my furniture when I was in the process of moving. I want Alexander to be the artist that he is, but I don't want everybody and their brother in my house looking at us. That's just right down dangerous. And, so I address national security because just like it happens to me, it can happen to any other American citizen. And it's like, where is our protection? It set me back. If you cannot find employment, and then you see people coming through Mobile that are illegal, that don't even have papers to work, yet they're working, how are they doing it? And then I get criticized because they compare me to people like that can work without having the means to work. Do you see how this is like a crucifixion here? This is why I say how I say it, because I can, because it is the truth, because I will. Because it's very hypocritical for people to be preaching about the Word of God and even coming to Mobile and associating with the churches, and the whole thing was to crucify me. And then in turn, my child is like, people are sacrificing my child, and it's like, first of all, I'm not sacrificing my child. I never have. I never will. And if I want to sacrifice anything, it'll be myself. But y'all have already done crucified me. And it's like, but you're not willing to do the same. Some people come in here and they speak negatively about the Black Afro-Americans when they themselves don't want to be discriminated against for being Latino. You see how hypocritical this whole thing can be. And I wouldn't be coming out saying these things if it wasn't for the fact that I really got, cheated, and then my son has been in this godforsaken system, and none of you care. None of you care, and if you ever read my things, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming, and you probably don't get to read the whole thing to fully comprehend. So I believe that we are all, posting, and then if we don't find something that interests us, we're not even but barely scan it. And that's the way it is, because we don't have time to be reading everybody's stuff. This is why I don't have like 4,000 friends on Facebook. I just have the people that I actually know, and maybe a couple people that wanted to befriend me, that it was like, it seemed like a very, once you start communicating, you're like, well, did you and I meet? And you do some careful selection, and then you figure out, oh, this is a good person. Maybe they're interested in what I have to say, and vice versa. And it has always been very amicable, very respectful. I have a friend from Africa, and we always speak to each other during the Christmas, the holidays. He always says, hello, Madame Susan. I say, hello, my friend. And we always say, God bless you. And, nothing over the top Christianity, but, just very respectful. And then I have another friend from Dominican Republic, and he's an engineer, very healthy in the mind, and he's just recently got married. We greet each other with respect. Those are the kind of friendships that I want to have in real life. Like, I'm not saying that Facebook is not real life, but you know what I mean. Like, face to face in my community. I want to have those kind of friendships, because when I was going through all this in Mobile, this lady Joanna was telling me, like, I needed to keep my mouth shut. And she said, well, I know that you find it comforting to look up other kids who are in that system. And it's like she was putting words in my mouth, because first of all, I have never said, nor have I ever found it to be comforting for other kids to be in DHR. Ever have I found any of that comforting. So people will measure you according to their own way of thinking. They're measuring you without really even knowing you. They think they know you. So in one of these lady gatherings, I was not allowed to speak. We were all told, oh, you're going to come and we're going to give our testimony. I was not allowed to speak. I was like, this is a bunch of hypocrisy. It's ridiculous. You know how this group of Christian people can be saying that Muslims are not good. And it's like, that's not Christianity. Christianity is not going to be like, oh, well, because we're Christians, people who are from another religion are not good. That's just a bunch of hypocrisy. Because Jesus Christ did not preach religion. So anyway, there was another lady who had come from South America. She left her daughter back home with her mama, the child's grandmother. She came over here and she married a man. She met him at church. They got married, and he started being abusive. So she divorced him. Nobody criticized her. Nobody stopped her from getting a divorce and moving on. Nobody pulled dirty laundry up or anything. She was able to get a divorce, and then she met a man who was 15 years younger, and they got married, and they live happily. And her daughter remained in South America. She didn't want to come after a while because it was just too, she got used to being with her grandmother. But just because people are willing to do that with their children doesn't mean that I wanted to do that with Alexander. Miss Miller and her associates over there, the thing is, Miss Miller adopted both her children. So what we need to talk about is how the dark side of the adoption industry. Some of these adoptive parents, especially back in the days when they went to Central America in other countries, they just were told, oh, the mama neglected the baby. What these people don't know is that the kids, between the time that they're picked up from their birth mother and the time that they're adopted out, those kids are starved, sometimes on purpose, so that the adoptive parents feel no remorse. They're like, oh, look how skinny, she was, or whatever. Same thing that happened with Alexander. You've seen videos of Alexander right before he was picked up, and then the foster parent was saying that Alexander was underweight. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like he was passed around 5 different foster homes. And it's like, when people like me pull out these kind of issues, they don't want to talk about it. Because, see, back when I was in my 20s, 20 years ago, I was just talking about, having a restaurant with the smoke outside and in a healthy menu. I was being told, no, you need to go to California. It's not going to happen here. People don't want that here. And it's like, well, that's no wonder why they're having gastric bypass surgery and on all kinds of heart attack and diabetes down here. And it's like, isn't that what we're learning about emphysema and COPD? What the hell is the point of learning about these things if you're not going to do anything about it? Okay, I've said enough. I love y'all. I love my son Alexander. It's like, I could never do this to a lady in her 20s, like just crush her dream. I could never do that. It's like that lady has her whole life ahead of her. There are some women that just get bitter. When they get older, they get bitter and they get jealous. It's like, haha, now you don't have a husband. Haha, now you don't have a career. Haha, now you don't have a home. Haha, now you don't have children. It's like, kiss my fundamental butt. That's ridiculous. If that's the way you're going to think, then I feel sorry for you. Because I don't feel that way about anybody. But the thing is, the hypocrisy is that people will measure me according to their ways. It's called narrow-mindedness. It's like, I did not leave my son in South America to come here to work. And then, it's okay for somebody else to marry 2 or 3 times and marry somebody 15 years younger, but it's not okay for me to be with somebody who's a few years younger than I, or be staying at home, like a lot of moms stay at home. It's like, I was decorating my house, I was cleaning my house, I was doing laundry, I was doing all the maintenance, sweeping and mopping and cleaning. That's housework. But they wanted me to stop what I was doing, leave Alexander, so I could go be a housekeeper on the weekends at nights. Y'all are hypocritical, and just write down. My papa knows I'm talking to y'all because he wants me to address these things. You so-called Christians. Thank you.